Many people have asked me about the food in England. I rather enjoyed it. However, I found having like baked beans with breakfast a little unusual. And there were many times in which I was eating something of which I wasn't sure what it was, but I enjoyed it on the whole. Here I am standing in front of Big Ben, with Parliament and the River Thames in the background. Hello? Who is this? Oh, Margaret Thatcher. Hi, how you doing, Maggie? You want to invite me to a party at 10 Downing Street? Okay. That was Margaret Thatcher. She's invited me to a party at 10 Downing Street, and although I don't want to really attend, I feel that because of the occasion and everything, I guess I'll have to attend, so go off to see Maggie. Well, Maggie, you've been elected for the third term, and I want to congratulate you and wish you the best. However, I must go now as I've got an important date to see a new theatrical production at the Aldridge Theatre. I'm going to see Brighton Beach Memoirs by Neil Simon. Next, we rented a car, a Ford Escort, and decided to drive down and check out the lower portion of England. I have a lot of respect for my father. Here he was in a strange country, driving on the left-hand side of the road for the first time, in a country in which there's almost no stop signs or traffic lights. Our next stop was Brighton, which certainly didn't look like these pictures here because it rained the whole time we were there. Next, they decided to let me actually drive the car. I'll tell you, if you've never driven on the left-hand side of the road, you can't believe how difficult it is. It's quite an adjustment, and you can just never relax. You have to concentrate the whole time that you're driving. We headed from Brighton up to Oxford University. Here I decided to send some postcards to some people.
'Cause we wish you were here. Wish you were here. Wish you were here. Wish you were here. Wish you were here.
We then traveled on to Stratford Upon Avon, which is the home of Shakespeare. I would have enjoyed this a little bit more, I think, if it hadn't rained the whole day. We visited Shakespeare's birthplace, which, as you can see, cost £1.50. From there, we headed on to Warwick Castle. This was the first castle that we saw, and it was quite an impressive sight. The tower there behind me on the left has 250 steps up to the top, which I climbed, and they also had some people dressed as medieval knights, which kind of led to the atmosphere of the place. And this beautiful peacock here helped me out by fanning his tail right as I was ready to take this picture. It was quite a lovely sight.
Arrived in Heathrow Airport in London, spent 3 days in London, traveled over to Dover, down to Brighton, spent the night in Brighton, Southampton, up to Oxford, visited Oxford University, up to Stratford on Avon, and visited there the birthplace of Shakespeare. Traveled on from there to Warwick Castle, and then traveled up to the land of my ancestors, which is up here near Burton-on-Trent. Right now I am in the town of Measham. No, I'm in the town of Oakthorpe, and I'm visiting the area of my ancestors, which is this area right in here.
At this point in the trip, my father and Betty decided to travel up to Scotland to check out the golf courses there and hopefully play at St. Andrews. They left me here in the town of Oakthorpe with Sybil Carter, and here's Sybil right here behind me. She was very gracious, drove me around every place I wanted to go, looked up some wills of my ancestors, which you'll see later in this video, and just generally helped me in understanding the region right around this area in which my relatives had lived. She made everything very nice. On Sybil Carter's house. Thought we'd swing around here, show some of the plants. And the garden here in the back. Next, I think we'll show the garden area behind Sybil Carter's house. Show some of the garden, beautiful garden that's back here. Has it been a good year for him?
Yes. Yes.
With all the rain?
Yes.
It's good for him, huh? House and the garden. We have some onions and some peas and other types of plants, apparently which are doing well because it's rained every day that I've been here. So they must be doing quite well. And then they have a little greenhouse back here. This is Sybil Carter's father. He'd worked in the mines around this area. In fact, his father died in the mines at the age of 66 after working 55 years in the mines. He began at the age of 12. To understand this region, you have to know that the whole area is built up on top of coal fields and that they were on fire underneath. And this mining subsidence had caused the area around there to have flooding of waters. And if you drilled down in the streets or in somebody's backyard, you were liable to have steam coming out of it. If you planted potatoes, they were liable to, when you dug them up, to be baked. The whole area sat on top of a coal field and was on fire underneath. And my comprehension of this helped me understand the area a little bit better. Here we have some of the street signs around the area. Oakthorpe, and it's Wednesday, June 16th, 1987. Some of my relatives came from this area. Samuel Bradford was born here in Oakthorpe and married Mary Woodward, and they had a daughter named Martha Bradford who married Philip Newbold, who was born in the town of Overseal, which is about 3.5 miles down the road from where I'm standing right now. And I'm standing here in front of the post office in Oakthorpe, getting some of the local flavor of what life is like in this village.
Oakthorpe, which as you can see is a free house, meaning that it isn't owned by any brewery, so they've got the right to sell anybody's ale that they like. Mill Inn at the bottom of Canal Street, Oakthorpe, which was the old route of the old Ashby Canal, which has long since been filled in due to the mining subsidence.
That wasn't there before then?
No. Hello. View towards Donisthorpe from Oakthorpe, notice the floods caused by mining subsidence around about 1970.
Church of St. John in Donisthorpe. Why don't you read that?
Yeah. To the memory of John Newbold, who died October the 24th, 1854, aged 70 years. Also Elizabeth Newbold, the beloved wife of John Newbold, who died May the 2nd, 1845, aged 65 years. Also Elizabeth, daughter of the above, who died October the 29th, 1840, aged 29 years. Also Emma, daughter of the above, who died January the 1st, 1845, aged 25 years. Died in the hope of joyful resurrection.
One night, after drinking several pints at the Hollybush pub, was decided that I should actually go down into the pits and experience what it's like to work in a coal mine. I was a little apprehensive about this, but Roger Popejoy, who you can see here in your picture in the center, decided that I should go down, and he would accompany me down in the pits on a Saturday when it wasn't so crowded. So I decided to go down into the pits. Here I am, dressed in my uniform with my lamp on top and the full breathing apparatus and that type of thing. I went 450 feet down, and they took me miles and miles back underneath the ground to show me what it was like to work in a coal mine. Believe me, it was quite an experience. In fact, I got to see where I went within 50 yards of where Sybil Carter's house was, and I could see where underneath the ground there, where the coal was on fire and actually burning right there underneath her house. So here I am, taking off, going down in the pits to check out exactly what it's like to work down there in that environment. And believe you me, it's not an environment in which I'd like to work every day. I found it extremely dark and heavy work, and quite an experience to go down there in a coal mine.